The one big beautiful bill, a portion of it is to cap federal student loans at $20,000 per person per year. It's a problem, y'all. There's a total lifetime limit of $100,000. That's right. If this bill goes through, you have to know that there's going to be a significant portion of your student loan that is not going to have any federal funding to this. And you're going to probably have to prepare yourself for using private loans or waiting for family to help you out. Yo, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Docs Outside the Box. Yo, I'm your host, Dr. Nee, on location, joined by my tired and lovely co-host, Dr. Renee. Wake up.
Yeah, what's up, guys? Tired.
Them kids, yo. Them kids.
Well, we also had some travel. We had some travel too, so.
Yo, everybody, we haven't recorded. I went back and looked at the records. It's been basically since the first week in May that we really recorded. And we owe you guys a couple of episodes, but life be life.
And an apology.
And as Renee was alluding to, life is life, and we was just traveling all over the place. From me working to traveling, just doing various different things. Life was lifing, and but listen. We love talking to you guys, and it didn't take, it took a lot of pushing from our team, including Kiara, as well as Audrey, to be like, yo, what's going on? Y'all recording or what?
Where y'all at?
Who
all over there?
But we are fresh back from, before we jump into this episode, let's jump into some quick shout outs. We are fresh back from coming from hot ass Houston, Texas. As you all know, Texas, if you don't know, Texas is not my favorite place to be. But
is it better than Boston?
It's definitely better than Boston. Houston, for so many reasons, is better than Boston. And one thing, I love the weather. I love the diversity. But that's pretty much it. And we were there because our brother, our friend from since 2003, 2004, Dr. Nate, got married, and we went there to go and support our brother and just, have fun and participate in an open bar. So shout out to you, Dr. Nate. That open bar was hitting. That open bar was hitting. But no, Dr. Nate got married to his lovely wife. Congratulations. You guys make a beautiful couple. And it was really fun. Really fun.
We had a great time. Good time. Saw some old friends. Saw some old friends that we didn't even expect to see there from med school. So that was nice.
Can we name them? We should name them, right? Because I think we're at a point now where people know we talk about them on the show. Like today I was in the CT scanner. And
oh Lord, here we go. Who are you talking about on the show now?
Dope dude, one of the dope guy. He was like, "Yo, and I didn't even know he was talking to somebody else, but he wanted me to hear it." And he was like, "Yo, I'm scanning a patient, and while I'm scanning a patient, this is him saying it. While I'm scanning a patient, I'm going through TikTok, and I see this bald-headed doctor talking with his wife about X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, yo, I know that doctor." And I turn around and I'm like, "Yo, did you give me a like though? You talking all this stuff.
A follow, a subscribe.
Please." So then everybody's like, "Yo, you be TikToking?" I'm like, I'm kind of TikToking. And, we kind of just take clips and put it on TikTok, but we won't be doing what the real TikTokers do. But it just let me think about, God damn, people actually listen. And it's kind of scary.
The algorithm
I be talking about
is
people
on your side. Yeah, you do be talking about people.
Not personally. I don't talk about anybody personally on this, but we kind of do be talking about y'all. So
yeah, I mean, well, the only way you could talk about somebody is personally. Do you mean that you don't say bad things about people?
No, I don't talk about anybody personally on the show.
What do you mean? What does that mean?
I don't how you fictionalize people? Sometimes I may fictionalize people, but I don't really fictionalize people.
What does that mean? I have no understanding. I'm tired. You just gonna have to say.
Yeah, for example, I would never name the CT tech by her name, right?
Okay.
I just fictionalized it just by what I just did, right? But I'm talking about someone that I have in mind, right? But anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is that when people are listening, or when I know people are listening, there's a little bit of oh, shoot, we got to be careful about what we say.
Well,
You don't
you
get
are
that feeling?
careful about it. But you are careful about what you say. Notice I say you. Because you always
Yo,
be talking about people.
shout out to Dr. Dejara. Shout out to Dr. Uche. Shout out to Dr.
Yay.
Tyree. Shout out to Dr.
Yay.
Thais. Who else
Yay.
did we see there?
Well, we expected to see Thais. And listen, Ty, y'all gonna have to, I don't know. But you know what's really funny? So we're really good friends with Thais and Tyree. And their nicknames are both Ty. But what's really funny is that no matter when you say Ty, you always know which one we're talking about. Have you ever realized that?
No.
I've realized that. It doesn't matter which of our friends that we're talking to. If I say Ty, they know which one I'm talking about. I don't have to say a full name. Isn't that crazy?
Probably because you've seen them both in the same room and you were anyway. You're looking at
we
one
have
person and you
mutual
say Ty.
friends. No, I don't. I mean, if I'm talking to a mutual friend about Ty, they know which one I'm talking about without me having to say Tyree or Thais. But what's also weird.
But I think there's way more nuance in that conversation that you're having with that person, so they can deduce who you're talking about. I think you're way oversimplifying it just to make a point on the show, and that's what I do. So I can recognize when you're doing it. So just don't do it.
Really, I'm podding now.
You podding. That's what it is. You podding. I caught you. But listen, shout out also to my nephew Raheem. Hey yo, congratulations on getting your MPH.
Yes,
that's dope. Super proud of you. Super proud of you.
Yep.
And then also shout out to my niece, Brittany, on graduating from nursing school.
Yay.
Shout out to you. So we've just been all over the place, right? It hasn't just been working and just record. We ain't got time to record. Graduations and flying to Texas and avoiding Newark Airport. It's just a lot of stuff going on, yo. Because I ain't flying nowhere near Newark, yo. If y'all don't know, y'all need to go check it out. Yeah.
60 to 90 minutes of dead airspace. Yeah, I don't think so.
In my own backyard. Who would have thought you can't land in Newark? Hell no.
Nope.
Yo, but that's not what this show is about. That's not what this show is about. Folks, your exciting new medical career, it's just been hit with a serious illness or injury that stops you from earning a paycheck just when you need it most. Check out what Jamie Fleischner of Set for Life Insurance said back on episode 176 about having disability insurance early in your career.
The real reason to get it early on is really twofold. One is to protect your insurability. So if you are healthy and you can obtain the coverage, you also pre-approve yourself to be able to buy more in the future. So down the road, as your income does increase, you don't have to answer additional medical questions. All you have to do is show that your income is increased and you can buy more benefits at that time. No medical questions asked.
Protect your income, secure your future. Check out setforlifeinsurance.com. But listen, let's jump into this because you're tired. I don't know what your expiration date is. But let's.
Well, my earbuds only got 47%. So
let's jump into this conversation. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. Let's talk about how this is going to affect something that's going to affect med students, actually pre-meds, med students, attendings, anybody who needs to take out loans to go to professional school. Let's talk about the one big, beautiful bill. Boom.
Is it beautiful?
Alfred, put that up. Put that up there.
Is it beautiful?
It's beautiful for some. It's beautiful if you're trying to get a tax cut.
It's beautiful.
Right?
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So, y'all, what is the one big, beautiful
How do you make a bill that's literally a parody of you? That don't even make no sense. But go on.
Congress might change your student loan future, guys. So listen, we're going to break down this one beautiful bill or one big beautiful bill just a little bit. So basically, it was introduced by Senator Josh Hawley, Republican out of Missouri. He's a doof. If you guys don't remember, he was part of some of those people. He was out there doing this to the people in 2020 before they came and stormed the Capitol or stormed.
What was he doing? The people Congress. Who are listening can't see.
He put his fist up and was kind of giving a shout out to the folks who were getting ready to kind of storm the Congress. So he's not one of my favorite people. But anyway, it's designed to address ballooning college debt and limit federal government exposure. And basically, here is the core proposal. I got to keep notes on this because there's a lot to this, guys. And y'all know I don't really do politics like that. But the one big, beautiful bill, a portion of it is to cap federal student loans at $20,000 per person per year. It's a problem, y'all. The reason why is there's a total lifetime limit of $100,000. That's right. Right.
How much was our debt? How much was our debt before deferment and all that?
Well, we use that at 240, but let me finish.
Yeah.
And this applies to all undergraduate, graduate, including y'all med students who are listening right now. So, it's a problem, y'all. So what this means for med students right now is, look, we talked about this on many episodes that the average student loan debt at this point right now is probably close to $300,000. So with $100,000 cap, students would have to go to, because you're going to exhaust the federal student loans that you're eligible for, right? So that means you're going to reach your cap on how much you can take out in federal student loans. And the reason why that's a big deal is federal student loans are protected, right? Or excuse me, there's a lot of protections that you get with federal student loans, right? In terms of default, in terms of if you can't pay, in terms of if there's COVID, all those different things that come along with federal student loan protections. If you exhaust that, you got to get private loan, right? Which could be a problem. We had to get private loans to get a portion of our education, particularly our MBAs. You got to get scholarships. And as we all know, and if you don't know, if you're an undergrad student right now, if you're a pre-med student, ain't really that many scholarships in med school. And like you thought looking for a scholarship trying to get into college was hard. Try to find a scholarship that's going to send you to med school. It's pretty much non-existent, right? Or, daddy Warbucks. You're going to go to your parents. You're going to have to find a rich uncle. You're going to have a rich auntie. Somebody who's going to have to make up that difference. But you up shit's creek, basically. And look, people are upset about this because it already passed through Congress, or excuse me, it already passed through the House. And now the Senate has to go through and do their bullshit, and it'll get sent back to the Congress. But the way in which the Senate works and the Congress is and the House is right now, this is coming through. And this is going to disproportionately affect first generation students, right? It's going to affect underrepresented in medicine students. And what are underrepresented minorities? Because that thing changes all the time.
It's the same thing. They just added more.
What is it? What's the same thing mean? What's the definition of an underrepresented?
Black, Latino, Native American. And then they added a whole bunch of more. So either way, people getting affected. And
lower income families.
Lower income families. So,
this is a problem, folks.
Yeah. The issue is that the bill, while it does cap the limit, right? It limits how much you can borrow from the federal government. What it doesn't do is cap tuition. So that tuition will
so I forgot to mention
to increase.
Well, so yes, you got a good point there. So one of the things that they're proposing in this that doesn't make, I don't know how they're going to make this work, is if they're saying that the authors who wrote this said that if there is unpaid student loan debt, that certain schools will have to take responsibility for having to pay a portion of that for the students. It's not clear.
I did read that too. I read that too.
It's not clear who's going to keep track of this, right? The Department of Education is already gutted, right? Before it was gutted, they barely could follow how many people were really eligible for PSLF, right? So now you're talking about Department of Education that barely exists at this point right now. So yeah, if there are a significant amount of students who are graduating from your school and they are not reaching certain milestones that are kind of like, can't find a job, or they have unpaid student loan debt and they are struggling in some form or fashion, and you're increasing your tuition and you're not showing that you can reach these milestones, you as an institution may have to pay some amount, arbitrary amount.
Yeah, like a cost share.
Yeah. And then that monies that goes towards, I don't understand how this works, but apparently some of that money that the institution is going to have to pay will go into this pool that'll go towards schools that are reaching certain metrics that the authors of this bill deem to be basically worthy to get this money. It's crazy. Yeah. I get what they're trying to say. Basically, they're saying, look, the schools, y'all need to stop raising your prices and not offering, any increased value. And if you're graduating, if you have a whole bunch of students who are graduating with all this debt, they probably can't find a job, or whatever we propose to be, they're not getting value. You're going to have some type of responsibility. The problem is you don't have accountability, right? There is no like who's going to be accountable for this? This is some type of amorphous thing that's in the sky.
You remember years ago, we listened to a podcast
I get scared when you have a pause like that.
remember like a few years ago, we listened to this podcast, and it was about this gentleman who was creating an online university.
Yes.
I forget the name of I feel like it was like Mission University, but there's something else called Mission University that's not at all affiliated with what I'm talking about. But that university was supposed to be like 100% free. And then what they would do is they would guarantee that you would get a job. And once you got a job, what they would do is they would say, okay, a portion of your salary.
This ain't med school.
No.
This was college. Yeah.
Yeah, college.
Yeah,
it was college, not medical school. I'm talking about
I know exactly
college.
What you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, but then a portion of your salary would then go back to the university to essentially pay the tuition that you had not paid over the last 4 years.
Okay.
But the reason that they did that was because they guaranteed that you had a job. So there was an incentive for the university to ensure that you would get a job. Otherwise, the university would not get paid. That university doesn't actually exist. So, or at least exist anymore. I don't know if it actually ever did exist, but it certainly was something that was talked about. But I find it very interesting that is essentially what is it, Big Beautiful Bill is suggesting.
Yeah, one big beautiful bill.
Beautiful bill
it's crazy.
Suggesting, considering that at least in that case, it didn't work.
I'm super interested. Well, I'm nervous about this, right? Because there are caps already on how much student loans you can take out federally, right?
Mm-hmm.
That cap is way higher than $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference for people who are going to grad school. And so in essence, what you're doing is you're continuing to ensure that the only people who are able to go to grad school, specifically the 4-year grad schools, the law school is 3 years, but the med schools, you're ensuring that only the rich or only the well-off can go to school.
Going back in time.
We all know what that does. We all know what that does. And that's fine. That's fine. There are consequences to all those different things. But it's like when it's blatantly in your face, it's like, yo. Like, so for pre-meds who are listening, they're like, well, can you like make this real as to like how this is going to affect me? And I'm thinking about it, I'm like you have to plan with the assumption that you may not have full federal support in the future. Right. Like I remember going to school in the 90s. Like I started college in 96. And I remember, there was a junior who was Basil, good guy, cool brother, man. You ever met somebody who's just like, he's just like nothing bothers him, nothing phases him. He wore the nicest clothes. He was popular, but he was popular for just how cool he was. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember Basil, I was telling Basil, I was like, yo, man, like, it's like, I forgot I think it was the beginning of like the second semester of my first year. And we were in the same dorm and stuff like that. And he came out like at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I just got back from like the bursar's office because my shit ain't clear. If you know what I mean, my refund check ain't clear. And I was like, yo, man, they try to kick me out of school and stuff. And he's like, man, chill, man. Like, I was like, what do you mean chill? He's like, yeah, you can always take and he's like brushing his teeth while he's telling me this. He's like, chill, man. Like, you can always take out more loans and stuff. I'm like, you motherfucker. And I'm like, yo, you right. Right?
Can't do that no more with this big, beautiful bill if it goes through.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for someone like me who knows that there's going to be this prolonged, like I knew I was going to go to med school, or I wanted to go to med school, right? It wasn't like I wanted to go work in corporate America and I just wanted to do 4 years of college just so I could get out. I was like, well, I got to do 4 years of undergrad, then I got to do 4 years of med school. So yeah, I'm going to be in a hella ton of debt. Might as well just start right now. Yep. But yeah, for pre-meds, you're going to have to start. If this bill goes through, you have to know that there's going to be a significant portion of your student loan debt that is not going to have any federal funding to this. And you're going to probably have to prepare yourself for using private loans or waiting for family to help you out.
So speaking of all of that, right? The other nuance of this is kind of the climate of anti-DEI, right? And so one of the ways that you can kill programs, one of the ways that in politics programs are actually killed, is that you don't say, well, we don't want this program anymore. What you do is you just cut the funding. So you say, well, the program exists. It just hasn't been funded, right? So if it hasn't been funded, then technically, program exists on paper, but it still doesn't exist. And so when you have universities that are saying, listen, we are going to engage in diversity recruitment efforts, we don't care what the federal government says, then the federal government can come back and go, you go ahead and do that. You better go ahead and do that. Okay?
Yeah.
But we're going to do our own thing over here, and we're going to cut the funding. Because right there, if you don't have funding to be able to bring these students in, then what are you recruiting? Your recruitment efforts are moot unless the universities themselves can actually come up with their own ways of funding these students.
Well, that's a point that I was going to mention is, I was trying to figure out, well, what are the upsides of this type of bill? And I was thinking about, well, will this force schools to not inflate tuition? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to say no. I don't think that it's going to force the schools not to inflate tuition. I just don't.
Because if this means that more and more people got to pay out of pocket, that could be a problem for schools. And like, yeah, you're gonna have to give me some value, right?
Well, I mean, they'll just replace who paid by loans with who's paying out of pocket, right? Like that. I mean,
you think it's that easy? You think it's that easy?
I do. Yeah. I do think it's that easy. I think that there are a number of students who are not getting into medical school who would like to get into medical school, and daddy can pay.
But here's this. So there are like credible studies, research that shows that, like, you can see the inflection point of when tuition just catapulted. I can't remember what decade it was, but it had to do with when the federal government decided that they were going to federally back loans. And when that occurred, schools were like, bet. Hey, yo, like, no matter what.
As Haitians would say, PI.
What does that mean? PI? How do I say it?
PI.
PI?
PI.
PI.
No, not PI. Just PI.
Ra?
No. There's no R in it.
PI.
No, not PIE. PI.
PI.
There you go.
Are the Haitians, are their ears bleeding right now? PI. Sac passe. Haitians. Did I do a good job?
Yes.
All right, but here's another thing too. Like, is this going to force states to actually start implementing programs where they have to pay for medical school for people to go in, right? So, you know how, like, remember, what's that school, Ohio University? Remember, like, everybody who applied there, like, they would give you a certain amount of financial aid if you signed this contract that said you're going to come back and work in this in the state for like 3 to 5 years. Is that going to increase those type of programs?
So I will say this, it might, but any any effort to bring in any sort of student who cannot pay out of pocket must be financially lucrative for whomever is bringing them in, right? Let's just, I want people to understand that there is no altruism in helping people get into medical school. Like there's no altruism, not on the side of the medical schools, not on the side of the federal government, not on the side of any of these programs that already exist, and not on the side of any future programs that will exist. There is no altruism in getting people into medical school. Like it just doesn't exist. And I'm saying this, I'm really saying this more for the people who are very, gung-ho DEI, right? Who don't understand very specifically why this whole thing even exists, right? And I'm pro DEI, don't get me wrong, but I also know what country I live in. And I know we live in a capitalistic country. So this is not about altruism, not at all. So I just want to make that
I got a
clear.
question. I got a question for you, but I actually got a question for the audience. Would a 100,000 loan cap have stopped you from applying to medical school? So this is for the people who are in med school right now, folks who are in residency. If you knew that there was a cap on the amount of student loans that you could get, and that like pretty much half, because I think right now the majority of people, well, I don't know, I can't say that, yo. Those graduate from $400,000 to $500,000 of student loan debt, yo, that's more than half. That's more than half of their student loans is probably in private loans. So I present to you all, like, would you have changed your decision to go to med school or to apply to med school if you knew like some of this stuff was down the pike? Let me ask you, if you knew like, hey, probably 75%, 50 to 75% is going to be private loans, which is going to be at like 13% back in the day.
I probably still would have applied.
You still would have applied?
I probably still would have applied. Knowing what I know now, I don't know. But if you asked me back then, understanding all of this back then, I'd have been like, all right, well, if I get a loan from the government versus I get a private loan, what's the big deal? I would not have understood.
The stakes
right, but I would not have understood the nuance.
Yo.
And this is why I think it's important that we're talking about this, because premeds really, really, really need to understand. Don't think like Dr. Renee did, like, what's the big deal? Loan is a loan is a loan. No, a loan is a loan is not a loan. Because like you said,
get paid back, yo.
Gotta get paid back. And there might not be deferment. There might not be forbearance. There might be a calling of your loan, which basically means at some point, any lender could be like, yeah, just give me the whole thing now. You don't have those protections with a private loan necessarily like you do with the federal government. Right.
Yeah, I have to. So I if it was me, because you never asked me questions, but if it was me,
I was going to ask you a question, but you keep chiming in.
You never asked me any questions.
Man. I was going to ask you a question, but you keep chiming in.
Ask your question.
Tell us, everybody, does Nee interrupt me before I can actually ever get him to a point where I can ask a question? Let us know.
Alfred, don't plug anything in, Alfred. I know I was going to something.
That's right. Alfred, you can plug in all the times when he's interrupted
Alfred, don't
me.
Put nothing in there.
Okay.
Alfred, you on my side, yo. You on my side.
Whatever.
It wouldn't, knowing all this thing was going on, I knew I wanted to be a doctor. And I was willing to sacrifice anything. But I think I would be sweating bricks knowing that I'd be sweating bricks knowing that. Because for me, the way when I was applying, I knew I was applying to med school without, like, I wasn't going to ask my parents for jack, right? Mainly because, like, by the time I was, like, I had been, like, 6 or 7 FAFSAs in, right? So I know the jig was up with my parents. Like, they can't afford this. Right. You know what I'm saying? So, like, if y'all don't know, like, when you put in them FAFSAs, you got to see, you need your parents' tax returns. You need your parents' gross income, whatever this or that. I know they ain't got it. So when I'm going to med school or I'm applying to med school, I know my parents would love to help, but I know they can't help.
It's not an option.
So I'm not even going to ask them. And then you want me to put them and ask them for a private loan? You know, so that's the other thing that's really interesting. It's like, yo, you probably got parents who are already like hemmed up from doing a Parent Plus loan for college. And we just talking about one person. What if they got 2 kids in school?
2 kids.
3 kids in school. And you're going to be like, yo, mom, dad, I need to hit you up for this cosign on this private loan. What?
Yeah.
Yo, so it's the other thing too. I would have kept going, but like for me, what I really think about too is, we're going to see a lot of dropouts. We're going to see a lot of dropouts.
So that's what
people who going through and they can be like, yo, I'm done. I can't do it.
So that's where my mind went, was that if I did take the loan, would I eventually have to drop out, right? So the attrition rate will be affected, just due to the fact that people don't have good enough credit to get private loans. They don't have a good, they don't have a cosigner. They don't have a cosigner with good credit, right? Like all of this. Here's my question to you before you interrupt me.
Because you had to get a cosigner.
Look.
I did, man.
Look.
Yo, go ahead, yeah. Go ahead.
Look.
Go ahead, yeah. That's peace. Go ahead.
So here's my question to you. My question to you is, would it have changed your way of applying to school if you knew you only had $100,000 guaranteed by the federal government?
Oh, that's a good question, yo. Probably what I would do in that situation is I'd be looking at all the schools that offer some type of scholarship in some form or fashion. Like I'd be trying to prioritize, is there any type of way that I could go to like a Ohio U or any of those type of schools that say, hey, yo, if you come to the school, we'll pay X, Y, and Z towards your student loan debt, but you got to stay in this state for 5 years. That's what I would be prioritizing. But as we all know, it's like, look, you just kind of get in where you fit in when you're applying to med school. But I think that approach would be my first priorities. Like, let me focus on the places that are going to give me some type of student loan repayment, debt, some type of scholarship that's known for giving people scholarships. Those are the type of things that I would be focused on. But I'd be hella nervous about it because I'd be like, yo, like, I know I definitely would be thinking about, yo, I'm applying to this. I'm telling everybody, yo, I'm going to med school, and then you get in, and then next, I'm worried, like my second year, third year, I'm gonna have to hit up people and be like, yo, I need you to be a cosign on this.
Yeah, can't pay.
Cosign. Yeah.
I think my approach probably would have been, I would have hit every state school in New York. I would have hit every state school. Well, because the tuitions are at least lower, right? And so it's like, okay, even if I had to go over 100,000, it's better to go, a few thousand more instead of 100,000 more over 100,000. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it definitely, I think I would have started prioritizing schools by tuition. I'd have been like, this is this is low, this is low, this is low. I would have been ranking them from lowest tuition to highest tuition. That's where my thing would have gone. And so the question now is, if this thing does go through, are the schools with the lowest tuition going to be the most competitive for certain demographics?
Oh, well, first of all, the schools that offer free tuition, everybody's going to be applying.
Exactly. Exactly.
So that's a good question. I got a question back to you. Those schools that are super selective, that, are known for just maybe only having a small class size.
Right.
Are they going to have to be forced to increase that class size?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Why would they, though? What would be the rationale for that?
Oof, I don't know. Like, for example, like, what does Morehouse do?
Well, Morehouse doubled their size like a few years ago.
Oh, they did? Well,
yeah, Morehouse got really big not a couple, but a few years back. I don't know if they doubled it. I shouldn't say they doubled it, but they increased their class size pretty significantly a few years back.
Listen, if you're listening right now and you're a med student, you're a pre-med and you're not sure what you want to do,
yeah,
start doing some push-ups, start doing some sit-ups,
some monetary push-ups.
Start getting on the treadmill. some Ozempic, because hey, yo, you gonna have to join the military. You gonna have to get fit. That's the option, yo.
That is the
yo. You gonna have to start getting into these.
Yo, I'm laughing to stop from crying because no, seriously. And then National Health Service Corps, right?
Yo, you gonna
so you have National Health Service Corps, which National Health Service Corps, right? Probably their applications are going to go through the roof. You know?
Absolutely.
Like,
yo, we got to get off this topic, yo. We got to get off this topic, yo. But let's take a real quick levity break real quick. So, all right, it is my favorite part of the show where I get to talk about locum tenens and what me and Renee do, as well as answer a question from the audience. So listen, guys, me and Dr. Renee have been doing locum tenens for well over 10 years. We, listen, it gives us the career fulfillment that we need, but also at the same time allows us to have the work-life balance that we need to have, right? It allows me to be here to talk to you. It allows me to be, plugged in with my family, my kids, my wife, and still be here and talk to you guys for close to 10 years now. So listen, let's answer this question from Dr. Kevin. Dr. Kevin is a full-time locum tenens emergency medicine physician, and this is what he writes. I love the flexibility of locums, but since I'm not employed by a hospital, I don't have benefits. This is real. Should I really be thinking about disability insurance right now? Dr. Kevin, I appreciate the question. Thank you very much for writing in this question. I got all the answers. And the short answer to this is 100% yes. Yes. And look, if you're already working as a locum tenens ER doc, man, you should have had disability insurance yesterday, right? So let's get to the point. Like, one of the biggest misconceptions I would say about disability insurance right now, if you're listening, is that you can worry about it later, right? I'm going to worry about it later. I'm going to take care of it when it comes up. And later you can put whatever time interval on it. But it's a big deal, right? Because especially as a locum tenens doctor, you are your own safety net. Right? Like, there is no HR department if an issue occurs. There's no benefits package, right? Part of the reason why you get paid so well is, there's no benefits, right? So you have to purchase benefits on your own, right? And there definitely is not any type of employer-backed disability coverage. I'll be very honest about that. And even the employer-backed disability coverage that you have is not very good. Like, even if you are working as an employed doctor, you should have your own private type of disability insurance. And that's real talk, right? So if something happens to you, an injury, an illness, a burnout related condition, and let's be real, that happens more often than you think. And let's say you can't work. Your income stops. That's it. There's no salary that you get to depend on. There's no work. That means there's no pay, right? So that is where a private disability insurance plan comes in. And also, if you're looking for a private disability insurance plan, like, you got to make sure that it's true own occupation policy. I'm going to say that again. Make sure it is true own occupation policy. You want to be sure that when you're looking at a plan that it says that lingo in there, right? And that means that if you can't work, I'm going to be honest, if let's get to the real, let's say as an emergency medicine doctor, or let's say you're an anesthesiologist, if you cannot work in that specific field, right? Or even general surgery, right? I'm a general surgeon. If I can't do general surgery anymore, but I want to do something else, that means I'm still going to get paid, right? And that's a really big deal, right? There's a lot of fine language out there that is meant to trip you up. But if you have true own occupation disability insurance, that means that you can do other things if you can't work in your specific field, right? And since you're a 1099 contractor, I got a little cheat code here, right? Your premiums may be tax deductible as a business expense. So not only are you protecting your income, you're being smart with your taxes also. Now, that last caveat, I'm going to be honest with you, make sure you talk to your tax professional about that. Make sure you talk to your financial advisor about that. They may give you some additional or a different type of advice. So it's super important that you run that by them first, okay? So, look, disability insurance, Dr. Kevin, it's not about fear. It's about financial responsibility. You've worked hella hard. You've worked way over 10 years to protect this career, to build this career, So protect that income at all costs, right? It's super important, right? So I recommend, if you're looking to get disability insurance, listen, I'm telling you right now, I recommend you work with Jamie Fleischner with Set for Life Insurance. All right. We've been working with her personally for over 10 years. She helped me and Renee get rid of our really expensive disability insurance and get to something that was way more cost effective and actually had better coverage. And that actually was the biggest start of us paying off our student loan debt, was us first realizing that, hey, we're paying way too much to disability insurance as well as to whole life insurance. Let's get something that's way more economical. And 3 years later, we paid off over almost $700,000 of student loan debt. So we know a thing or two about working with cost-effective disability insurance. Super important. So I recommend Jamie Fleischner with Set for Life Insurance. She specializes in coverage for doctors, especially independents like you and me. All right. So there's no fluff in what she's talking about. It's just honest advice. And she's got access to multiple top tier carriers. So I want you to take a look at setforlifeinsurance.com or tap on the link in the show notes. All right. To set up a free, no pressure consultation with her. All right. Super important. And remember, this is Docs Outside the Box, and outside the box doesn't mean unprotected. Dr. Kevin, thanks for writing in. I want to really quick update everybody on my running updates. Hey, yo, Alfred, cue this video, yo. So I was in Houston, so I'm getting coached. So, everybody who's listening, I'm trying to start running again, basically. So my goal is I want to run a 5K in under 20 minutes. Eventually, I want to get to that point, right? Mm-hmm. And it's going to take a lot of work. So I have a college friend who is I basically hired her as my coach. So shout out to Jen Reed. So she's been sending me workouts where now I'm combining my workouts with my weightlifting workouts because I want to be able to bench 250 pounds and I want to be able to get that goal of...
How many pounds are you at now?
I don't know. And I don't know if I'm going to keep benching because my shoulder's jacked up. So this is like the right time to like really incorporate running into my working out.
Need that MRI.
Yo.
The MRI.
Them orthopedic surgeons listening right now, I got this pain. Like if you watching on YouTube, I got this pain right here. Like when I do this and I do this, do I have a...
Yeah, they come with their hammers. You got what with the hammers? What you got?
And shit. Yo, my shoulder just ain't shouldering. Is that the right way? Shoulder ain't shouldering. This joint ain't jointing, yo, and it's just costing me pain, yo.
This joint ain't jumping.
But so she made me do, so she was like, listen, I can write workouts for you, but in order for me to start like, because you can't just run like miles and then you're going to be able to break 20 minutes. Like you got to be able to start doing tempo runs, which are like, you're running fast, but you're not like sprinting or you're not like race pace. And you got to be able to do intervals, which are like almost at race pace. And then you stop and then you get like 60 seconds and you go back in. Like, she was like, I can't give you the times if I don't know how fast you are. Right. So you remember like a couple weeks ago, I tried that 2-mile run. I couldn't even finish a mile because I went out too fast. So the video that I'm asking Alfred to put up that's the video I just did where I did a time trial in Houston before the wedding. I did a 2-mile time trial. And boy, Dr. Renee.
You was huffing and puffing.
Yo.
Anybody listening in that gym would have thought, the hell's going on in that gym?
Yo, Alfred, please, you got to play the last like 2 seconds.
With
or at least
the audio.
10 seconds.
With the audio.
It sounded like everything except running in there. And I'm sharing this with y'all because I love you guys. And I know someone's having a good time in that gym. You know what I'm saying? Renee's jealous.
Of the treadmill? Yes.
I can't make him work like this. I think
my God, Ning.
I think that, for me, I just wanted to share this because it's going to take a lot of work. This is going to take me at least 6 months to get to this point, maybe even longer. And, but I'm
Do you think it'll take 6 months?
Yeah, I think so. I'm super excited about it. I'm super excited about it.
Okay.
Yeah. I just want people to know, like, that's a big update for me because, like, I think a lot of times, like, me and you, we don't really share, like, personally, like, what we're going after. Like, we talk about these student loan bills and we talk about locums and all that stuff. So sometimes I like to share, like, all right, like I'm really going after this because at this point right now, I don't feel like I'm at my best shape aerobically and running wise, but I do feel like overall I'm in the best shape I've been since even before college, you know? And for me, like, this is a goal that's really important to me because, being able to bench 250 pounds, which I'm probably going to have to do something else, whether I'm squatting or what have you, and then being able to run still shows that, like, I have, like, this overall fitness that I really is important to me. So, that's just something I wanted to share. So,
okay. So after you
transition, but it's something that I want to share.
but after you hit 5K, like, I know you're on the 5K mindset right now.
Don't even, Renee. Don't.
But is there? Happening. I'm asking.
Not happening.
You don't even know what I'm asking.
I know what you're gonna ask me. I'm going.
What
down.
am I asking?
I'm not going up. I'm not going up.
Why not?
So you asking me? Well, I don't even know what I'm going to ask you. And I know exactly. I'm not doing no marathons. I'm not doing no 10Ks. Listen, like, I barely like to go run on the road. Like, I'm a track guy. I'm a sprinter. Or I'm a long sprinter. I don't like distance. I like to race. And that's the other thing, guys. I'm not like one of those guys who likes to get out there and be like, oh, I just want to run. It's a beautiful day today and just smell. I don't want to deal with any of that stuff.
You don't want to smell the roses.
Nah, I want to compete. I want to beat people. That's what drives me. That's why.
Right, but can't you beat people in a 10K?
Hell no, I won't do that shit, man. I get bored. Like, what? 6 miles.
What about a triathlon?
Hell no. For what? Bike? Hey, yo, listen. For all my folks who listen right now who are on Pelotons, I don't know how y'all do it. Renee.
But I thought you said you wanted to start biking.
Hell no. Nope.
With the
I
kids?
only want to bike with the kids. And the seat on a mountain bike is way different than the seat on the Pelotons and, those. Nah, I can't do it. What it does to the family jewels afterwards, none of them ever told me. So sometimes, like, my coach back in the day would be like, hey, get on the bike and do X, Y, and Z. And it's just like, as soon as I get up, it's like, I'm talking like 3 or 4 octaves.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Reasons. The reasons. Like, nah, yo.
You falsetto?
Yeah. Can't do it.
Hit Mariah Carey notes?
Can't do it. Can't do it. All right, yo, let's jump off this topic, yo, because I just need to show this little bit of levity. Let's get back to being serious.
Oh my God, Nee.
Let's get back to being serious. And I definitely didn't bike. I'm glad I didn't bike when we were trying to have kids, because you would have been tight. You would have been mad. Ain't no way that shit does nothing. It has to do something to your sperm count. Fuck that. Nah. Yo.
Really? I don't know.
I know Love is listening right now. He's like, nah, yeah.
But he got twins, so it did something good.
Couldn't convince me, man.
Just split everything in half, huh?
All right, Dr. Renee, let's jump into this next topic, all right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What are the 5 mistakes that you did? Actually, you know what? 5 is too much, but I got this from Reddit. And should I put... So basically, I know you're going to get on me about this. So should I name the person who wrote this?
I mean, it's a public post. I don't see what's wrong with that.
Yeah, so I be scouring on Reddit, y'all. So in the... some of this Reddit shit, I don't even understand. But r/medical school, that group, I guess. Natural Plenty 7324 wrote 5 mistakes you did during medical school, which you regret now as a clinician doctor. Dr. Renee, 5 mistakes you did during med school, which you now regret as a clinician doctor. Give me at least 3. Doesn't be tough to find 5. Oh, shit. Word in it?
Met you, got with you, married you.
Yeah, you better finish that. Because didn't that help you get through respiratory?
Get out of here.
Renee.
Me.
Stop potting.
Whatever.
Stop potting.
Whatever. Anywho, 5 mistakes in med school.
Give me 3. 5 is too much, and the audience ain't got time to listen to all that.
Oh my God. Damn, you might have to come back to me. No, Met You is not one. No, Met You is not one. No, actually, yeah. So one thing that I do wish is that I had been more open, that I had been more open to specialties, right? Because I went in thinking I was going to be pediatrics, thought I was going to be pediatric endocrinology very specifically. And so I was very like on my rotations, I was like, I got to get through this rotation, but I know what I want to do. And it turned out that was not what I wanted to do. So I wish I had been, a little bit more open. I think I would have not just learned more, but just kind of enjoyed it more, right? Like been in the scene of that rotation, whatever rotation it was, a little bit more. So that's one. Two, I wish I would have joined an interest group, even though it would have been a pediatric interest group. But I think by not joining an interest group, I kind of I don't know that I realized, that there were not only resources, but kind of, what do you call it? Like things you're supposed to do. You know what I mean?
You mean like a school club, like those school clubs?
Yeah.
Those
like those school clubs. Yeah. Specialty clubs, like things that you're supposed to do, right? In order to get into a residency. Huh?
You want to be a cornball.
I don't know if I want to be a cornball. I
want to be the secretary for the OB-GYN group. That's what you want to be?
Yeah. 3, I would not have run for or become our class president our first year.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's stick there. Why is that? I want to talk about that. Why? So everybody, just so we know, everybody, I want you to listen. Renee's always been a leader, a natural leader. She's also really good at stuffing ballots. And I'm going to tell you something right now.
What?
Dr. Renee got elected under some... No, I'm serious. Renee got elected as class president.
Why are you like making up stuff?
I'm not making up stuff.
Why are you making up stuff, Nee?
So you didn't run for governor? You didn't run for class president?
I didn't stuff no ballots, Nee. What the hell are you talking about?
What are we talking about?
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about you being class president.
Yeah, you just said I'm good at stuffing ballots. What the hell does that mean?
Are you saying that's false or true?
I'm saying that's false, Nee. What the hell are you talking about? I really hate talking to you.
No, you don't. You love talking to me.
I hate talking to you.
We potting. Okay, so why wouldn't you want to be class president? Get to the point.
I don't know that experience did anything for me. Especially and not just for me, but for my class, especially in the climate that we were in at the time. If you remember, like our school was very, as soon as we got into school, the vice president of the school just went like, went like militant.
Hey, Dr. This happened 20 years ago. You already paid. You got your receipts. They can't take your degree.
No, I'm trying to.
The receipts.
I'm not saying. I'm trying to figure out like what's the right word. I'm not talking about the political, the nice word. I'm talking about what's the right word.
Like, they try to come martial law. They try to do martial law on us.
He was like, he got like militant. Like all of a sudden, it was like, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't wear this and you can't wear that and you can't. And it was like, yeah, this is not really what I signed up for. And so then I had to then there were like fights because there was the whole dress code thing, which for me, I was like, is this really like that big of a deal? But to some people, it really was. And for me, it was like, it's a little inconvenient, but I don't really care because people were coming in their scrubs anyway, and people were coming in t-shirts and scrub bottoms, i.e. Nee Darko. Nee Darko would come in, you'd have a t-shirt and scrub bottoms on, looking like an ER doc.
Pretty much.
So you either had to wear scrubs
and Timbs. I did have Timbs.
So you either had to wear a white coat or you had to wear scrubs. And that was the dress code.
Couldn't you wear a white coat and t-shirt in Timbs?
you could wear something, whatever you're wearing, but it had to be like, like semi-professional wear or whatever. So anyway, the problem was that they couldn't police it anyway. But the student body or the student board, actually, they just kept harping on it. And I was like, but is this really such a big deal? Like, there are other things like we should really be thinking about here.
So you found yourself in the middle. You found yourself in the middle
of a fight that I wasn't passionate about. Like, this was not something for me that was so like, oh my God, they're making us wear a white coat. Oh my God, they're making us wear scrubs. I was like, it's not that big a deal, because when we go into the wars, what do you have to wear?
You gotta wear a white coat.
Or you gotta wear scrubs.
Right.
So I understand we in the classroom the first 2 years, but damn, why was it such a big deal? That's, for me, I was like, there are other things that we could be talking about.
What
to do. And I get it. I didn't like to be told what to do, but I also don't like my time wasted. And I'm not going to waste my own time fighting something that isn't necessarily very important to me. I'm like, so what? I'll just freaking wear scrubs. Who cares? I don't care. I'll wear a t-shirt with scrubs. The thing is, nobody was there taking the dress code. You know what I mean? After the first couple of days, people were like, yeah.
There was an attendance.
There was attendance. There was attendance. But after a while, nobody was paying attention to what we were doing. Nobody was paying attention to it, which is why I was like, damn, the more attention we bring to this, the more attention they're going to pay to it. So let's just leave it alone.
What were some of your other duties as president that you had to do?
I don't even remember, because my presidency was marred by this one thing so much. I don't even remember all the other things. Like, I was just like, why is this every single meeting was about the dress code. And so finally I was like, guys, is this really such a big deal? Like, nobody's even paying attention anymore. And then all of a sudden, basically people were clutching their pearls. I was like, damn, what did I say? I was like, damn, what did I say? Like,
do you feel like it got in your way of studying?
No, not at all. Not at all. It didn't. That was the one thing I could definitely say, like, being class president didn't get in my way of studying. And it shouldn't have, right? Like, that. So
why do you regret
that's not why you do leadership.
Why'd you regret it? Like, you just didn't want to deal with these situations?
For me, I thought being class president was going to be something else, right? I thought we would be talking about ways to better our class, right? To better opportunities for our class. And it became about the dress code. And I was just like, I understand that this man has become, militant, and is instituting martial law, essentially. But at the same time, I'm like, why don't we just focus on the things that are actually going to benefit us? Me wearing, my own clothes to the classroom for 4 hours a day is not going to make or break me. Like, it's not. If I get to, so what? I roll out of bed and I get to wear my own clothes. Woo! I'm sitting in jeans. Like, how is that making me a better doctor? How is that giving anybody any sort of advantage or opportunity? Like, how is it? And for me, like, the pearl clutching when I said, guys, like, really, is this such a big deal? Do we really need to? Is this what we really want to be fighting? I was just like, oh, so y'all just, for me, that's when I realized y'all are set. Y'all are set. This is why this is so important, because y'all ain't got shit to do. I got shit that I'd like to do, but y'all seem like y'all are set already. So you know exactly what you're doing, exactly where you're going. You got your connects. You know exactly who to talk to. I don't. And so that's what I wanted to do. So I think there was a huge difference in demographic between me and my board members, which equated to a difference in what I felt was important versus what they felt was important. And, I liked my board, but we just were not on the same page. We just weren't.
So you had different backgrounds.
We had different backgrounds. My entire board was white. I was the only one that was Black. They just, I don't know how many of them came from medicine, came from money, came from whatever, but I didn't. I didn't come from that. And so for me, I'm like, I'm trying to collect opportunities here. I'm trying to create opportunities here. And I can't do that on my own when, I have a board that is working towards wearing jeans because that's the most important thing, And then you see what happened our last year. You see what happened the last year, right? When the dean then went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs and was like, yeah, y'all can't graduate. The hell you mean y'all can't graduate? Well, what are you talking about? Right? So you want to tell a story?
Nah, man, let's save it for another episode. But I get what you're saying. Basically, what you're saying is the priorities that you had weren't the priorities necessarily of your board and stuff.
No.
And I got you. I feel you on that. Let me talk about one big mistake that I wish I had done, which I made in med school that I still regret now, is that I realized that life, and like there's a journey that you learn a lot, that you can learn a lot from. Like I was, just so everybody knows, people who don't know, I took 2 years off to apply to med school. During those 2 years, man, I would kick myself every day. Like, man, I should have been in med school the first time I applied. And I was pissed. I was upset, had a chip on my shoulder, and I just felt like I really should have been in med school and stuff. But, those 2 years off taught me a lot of things. It taught me resilience. It really taught me like how to like strategize and look at applying at med school a bit differently. And I think it also helped me to become a better student. It helped me to be really focused on what I really wanted. So I think that part of the reason I was really successful in medical school was because I took those 2 years off. And for me, I think once I got into med school, though, I just wanted to finish as quickly as possible.
But wait, what happened in those 2 years that made you come to that conclusion? Or did you come to that conclusion before you got into medical school?
What conclusion? Who you think, Barbara Walters? What question are you talking about?
Really, Nee? The conclusion that, kind of what you were talking about with life and just looking at your, journey.
Oh, because when I was applying to med school the first time, I was like, yo, I just want to get into any med school. And I don't care what grades I get. I know I'm just going to graduate. And I'm probably going to struggle, but I'm going to make it through. Like I already had this mindset that like, I'm going to get into med school and med school is going to be like this complete struggle. And, I'll probably finish last in my class, but I'm still going to graduate. It don't matter.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Why did you think that?
I don't know. I think because getting into med school was so hard, right?
And yeah, but you wouldn't have known that the first time because you did not get in the first, or not, but you see what I'm saying? It was your first time applying. So how did you come to that conclusion that you would be last in your class?
I don't know. I just had a feeling it was going to be a struggle. And, I just felt that once I got into med school, it was going to be a struggle. And more than likely, I don't know. That's kind of in my mind.
Did you struggle in college?
No, I didn't struggle in college. I worked hard. Like I had to work hard, but I wouldn't per se say like, I got to keep real. I got to keep it a buck. Like, I think a lot of times people be trying to like give themselves like false, like they'll make up false things, like false adversity, and people be lying and stuff. Like, I don't think I cruised through college, but I just kind of was like, I wasn't struggling. And I think the issue for me is I lacked direction, and I needed like mentorship. That's what would really have helped me. So those 2 years off, man, like, bro, like that was like a big issue for me because I was like, man, this is like the first time I really hit like adversity. Because now like I'm telling people, yo, your boy's gonna be a doctor. He's gonna go to med school. And it's like, well, what you doing here working at Sports Authority? It's like, yo, I'm trying to figure it out. You know?
dunking these rocks.
These rocks, biatch. You know what I'm saying? Yo, try to get these protection plan on these Jordans. Come on, son. Right? But it's the truth, right? Because the more extended warranties you sell, you get commission off of them extended warranties. Trust me, I know. Right? Trust me, I know. So those 2 years, it helped me to really. It's true. You laughing, but you know what I'm talking about, right? You know?
Oh my God.
But I would definitely say the point of what I'm trying to say is maybe if I had taken like a gap year in med school to do something outside of just like trying to finish, right?
So you mean while in med school?
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of doing 4 years, doing 5.
Take a leave of absence.
Yeah. Yeah. So guys, we got our dual degrees, DO and an MBA. We did it in 4 years. And I was super proud to do that. But we had to give up our summers. And then we had to do MBA courses.
Only at one summer.
Hey, am I creating adversity again?
Yeah.
You're right. So, but we did have to take some classes while we were doing clinical work.
Yeah.
Right. That's real. Mm-hmm. But I think looking back, I think I would, if I had taken a gap year to do something medically related, but kind of not really like you're studying for step 1 or you're doing clinical work so that you can get ready to apply. Something that's just kind of medically related where you're taking a year off, you get paid, or it's like an internship, maybe in Washington, D.C. or something like that, or wherever it may have been, some medical mission work, global health, I think that would have really helped my whole mindset, my maturity, how I handle certain situations. I think that's probably one of the biggest mistakes that I wish I had done because it's great to graduate, but also at the same time, like you're only in med school once, and for me, and I'm sure you can attest to that. Med school is fun as hell, yo.
Oh yeah, I do it. I do medical school way more times than I would do college. I wouldn't do college again.
Would you do med school if it meant you didn't meet me?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I always ask good questions, everybody. Everybody knows. I ask good questions. You be like, so what day is it?
What day is it?
Who's going to win the championship? Like, why are you asking me?
Who's going to win the championship? I don't know. Because, I mean, you were a really, really big part of my med school experience.
I know.
And I was a big part of yours. So, like, stop playing. But I have a feeling that
Elon Musk state all the ways in which he was yo.
Do not quote Elon Musk on this show.
Yo, there are mugs in our school district. There are parents in our school district right now who get emails from Elon Musk, and it says, "Hey, yo, oh shit,
what does it say?
Please justify your existence in this what do you call it? In this part of the government." I'm like, yo. So Renee, it's 5 words or less. Justify how you can say that you're part of my, what do you call it? Me getting my diploma in med school. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to be like Elon Musk. Go ahead.
Okay. Anywho, I probably would have still enjoyed med school. Because at the point at which you're in med school, it's not like college where you're taking these classes, especially as a science major. That's one thing I definitely would not have done. But you didn't ask about college. But if I had to go all the way back to college, I definitely would not have been a science major. Definitely not. I probably
asked you that.
I probably would have been a theater major.
Oh, word?
I probably would have been theater major. But yeah, I probably would have enjoyed med school, even without you. Well, shoot, half of med school was with you and half of it was without you as many times as we broke up.
Oh.
Ooh, burn. Just like the kids. Ooh, you just got roasted. Our kids say that all day long. Ooh, you just got roasted. Ooh, no reverse.
They don't say that. They say that?
Yes, they do. Uno reverse. Draw 2. I'm like, what?
Yo, some other mistakes that I made is I would do more questions. I would do more standardized questions.
Ooh, me too. Yes.
When studying for, not even just for like step 1, step 2, but for actual, the quizzes that we had made by our professors, I would have done more. I should have done more questions that were standardized instead of kind of going back and kind of creating our own questions and so forth. But what you did though, that was peace. That was great. You helped me out there with making my own questions.
There you go.
But,
there you go. Score 1 for Renee.
Yeah. But listen, guys, we're gonna end the show right here. But I do want to end the question. I do want to end with 2 questions. One is, what's one of the, if you're an attending right now, if you're in residency right now, what's the big mistake that you made in med school that you now regret as a resident or even as a clinician? That's one. You guys know you can text us. Renee's going to tell you how to do all that in a second.
We're actually going to put that in a reel. We're going to put that in a reel. And you guys comment on Instagram or TikTok.
And the next question I have is what I asked earlier. Like, for real. Like, I want to know, folks who are listening, like, if you knew that there was a loan cap that is now significantly lower, and that, well, we're talking about 50%, maybe even like 60% of your education had to be by private loans, or you kind of hat in hand to parents like, or to family like, I got you. Like, in 10 years, this 20K, I'm telling you, it's going to be worth like 50. So just put it in right now. I got you for it in 15 years. Would you have?
We went from 10 to 15. I'm not trusting.
I don't know percentages. I don't know compound interest. But would you have done it? That's a good question, y'all.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to leave us off with, Dr. Renee, before we jet on out of here?
No, but you be potting for real, yo. You be potting for real.
I'm gonna act like this is Robert's rules. I'll allow it. How do I be potted?
Have you ever done Robert's rules?
Hell no.
Ever.
I'm gonna act like it though. I'm
exactly.
Go ahead.
Exactly. Now I'm gonna tell a story real quick. So one time when he was regional director, he had to run a meeting.
You can't just leave. You can't just talk.
He was regional director, Region 2 of the SNMA, and he was running a meeting. And the meeting was getting really chaotic. He called me up. I wasn't even part of your board. Shit. You remember this? I was pre-med board member.
These naysayers to shut the fuck up, yo. I tell these naysayers to shut up, yo.
No, you didn't call me. You called me up. I was in the meeting physically.
Okay.
We're physically meeting. You called me up to the front and basically had me kind of be your like parliamentarian. I'm like, what the hell?
But you did it though. But you
so
did it. And
I don't want to do it now, which means you can't do it now.
All right, y'all. We're going to catch you guys on the next episode of Docs Outside the Box, because Renee's creating this fake adversity like she got me through med school. But listen, make sure you answer those questions.
And I paid your loans back too.
Okay. Stop playing, Renee. But y'all, we're going to catch you guys on the next episode of Docs Outside the Box. We love y'all. Sorry for the delay. And shout out to all the new subscribers we got on YouTube. We love y'all.
Yeah.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.